Hello everybody, it's Trevor with Media Mementos with a Media Mementos extra commentary on the complete history of Fat Albert 2004. Wow. Firstly, I gotta say this is one of my favorite videos I've made. I don't know if it's quite in the top 10, but definitely in the top 20. But this was one of the hardest videos I've ever had to make. Many people think that Flintstones 1994 was the first, I guess, step in this new direction I've got with the new focus on history and behind-the-scenes content. Hey, there I am. Instead of, say, reviews, which of course I don't do anymore. But this was actually supposed to be the premiere. As some of you who've been around the channel long enough would know, I wanted this to be the bold new step in this direction that would be changing Media Mementos forever. There probably should have been a title to this whole move, but oh, wow. I totally forgot about that edit. I guess I'll talk about the editing in a moment. So, what happened to make this thing take, 4 months to create? Well, as I do with most videos on Media Mementos, I scheduled it way in advance. For those of you who don't know, the Media Mementos schedule usually spans about 6 months in the future, and each video is recorded, I'd say about a month and a half in advance. You know, just to make sure that the editors get enough time as possible, and we get stuff like this. You know, stuff that looks good and has some fast energy jokes or interesting looking changes. Well, the person that I hired for this one, who will remain nameless, they turned in a product that wasn't exactly the best, which was okay, you know, that's fine, it's their second video, it takes time to grow and to, I guess, adapt to the Media Mementos style, but it was filled with outdated memes and grainy footage, like, grainy as in you could count the pixels. It was that bad. And we tried it time after time after time, and I think after the third draft, I just had to go, okay, no, this is not going to work. So I took the project away, and I wasn't really sure what to do with it. We had to keep kicking the can down the road, as it kept missing deadline after deadline, and one day I was talking to Billy about it, and for those of you who aren't aware, Billy is the former co-owner of Media Mementos. Back in the day, it used to be just the two of us doing our thing, but he decided to leave at the end of 2022. If you go back to some of the other videos like Prom Night or Ice Age, yeah, Versus the Network's little return to the Nicktoons format in Nicktoons Versus the Network Part 2, that's him. So I was telling him about this issue I was having with the Fat Albert video, and he just said, you know what, I used to edit all the Media Mementos videos myself. I'm really passionate about this, why don't I edit it for you? Of course, he didn't use those exact words, he used words I don't usually like to say, in fact, not at all. But of course, it was great to have Billy back on the channel. I was more than happy to put him on, and, well, now we got this. It took a lot longer than expected, but I'd say it was worth the wait. I got the final product back when I was in California, taking a vacation with the family, and yeah, this came into me at like, midnight? And I dropped everything to watch it, and here it is. Like I said, it didn't disappoint. So why did I want to do Fat Albert at all? Fat Albert 2004 used to be one of my favorite movies as a kid, long before I ever watched Fat Albert the show. So, even though this movie's not exactly the best, it always stuck with me as this childhood relic that I always wanted to learn more about. And after doing some more research, I found out that many other people were the exact same way. Many people know about this movie, but not exactly about the inner workings of it all, and after doing some more research, finding out about the mentality behind it and the mission statement, I gotta say, I really admire the crew behind this, the cast, the director, the writer. They just wanted to make a feel-good movie that, sure, maybe wasn't exactly Shakespeare, but could serve as a loving tribute to the original show, as well as just something to make people feel good in these dark, downward spiraling times. I touched on this a little bit during the Elf video that came out recently, but that little stretch of time after 9/11 cast a dark shadow over the country. People just weren't really able to have fun like they used to. So I guess people kind of needed stuff like Fat Albert 2004 to help them smile. Or at least it probably would have worked if people actually went to go see it. The fact that it bombed is really depressing. But yeah, it was thanks to this movie that I was able to finally get in the routine of research. What I would do usually is watch the director's commentary first, so I can learn a lot about the inner workings from a admittedly biased point of view, but the point of view of someone who was on set. You know, learn some of the little background stories that they've had and running jokes. And then I do the objective research to help fill in the holes that the directors couldn't provide. And, by the way, if you ever want to watch that director's commentary yourself, it's definitely informative. I'll definitely say that. But, let's just say that Bill Cosby's not the only creepy person involved with Fat Albert. I was going to mention this in the video, but I ended up cutting this out of the final script. There are so many times in the commentary where the director and I think the writer as well, they just creep on all the high school girls, especially Kyla Pratt. Keep wanting to say Kyla Pratt like I did in the video. No, it's Kyla Pratt. Don't worry. I know. It's kind of uncomfortable, and it's mostly uncomfortable, I'd say, just because of the context that Fat Albert has been as of late. Yeah, it's something. But yeah, like I said, I'm glad this thing came out and that people loved it and wanted to see more. It may not have been the backdoor pilot, or I guess in this case, outright pilot that I wanted it to be. I wasn't quite ready for Flintstones 1994 to take that role, but okay. Even so, I'm still glad that it was able to make so many people happy. In fact, I'm looking at the returns right now as I'm watching the video. It's got about 10,000 subscribers, 500 some likes, and only 4 dislikes. That's gotta be a good sign. Yeah, there were a lot of stories I wanted to include in this. One of the main bits I had to cut out was the animation. I know that a lot of people were kind of surprised that I didn't include it. Some got a little angry or, I guess, baffled. Can't quite tell sometimes on the internet. It's the internet, you know? But trust me, this thing was long enough as is. A 15-minute video on Fat Albert, that's good. But there weren't really any stories regarding the animation. Nothing really happened. All it would have been was, the animation was done by this, and it was directed by this. There were little touches added here and there. Take a look at this one, or this one. You don't want to watch that. I mean, that's what those, little Easter egg videos on YouTube are for. And I'm sure those videos are great, it's just that I don't really make that kind of stuff. For example, there would be references to some of the and I know there was talk about maybe doing a sequel or something. Honestly, I don't really think a sequel to Fat Albert 2004 would have worked. The story is so self-contained. What are you gonna do from there? Are we gonna meet, say, Weird Harold's relatives and they're gonna come out in the real world? Are Lori and Doris gonna go into the cartoon world? I guess it's up to the fanfiction writers to figure that one out. As for an official movie release, I don't think so. And man, I am so surprised that Bill Cosby, the guy who is so protective over his image and doesn't want any shots below the belt, he insisted that the "I'm looking for Mr. Cosby, are you his dad?" that line had to stay in the movie. Just wow. I'm not really sure why exactly, although, admittedly, it is one of the funniest parts of the film. So I'm glad it's in. Of course. They did a really good job on those costumes, too. They're not one-to-one recreations of the show, but as I've learned in doing the research, that wasn't really what it was supposed to be. It was more just supposed to be a representation of the show. They also originally toyed, this is, I guess, the one thing I regret not including in the video, is that they originally did toy with having some Filmation-esque animation for the animated bits, but considering that this is a feature-length movie with millions of dollars at its disposal, as well as the fact that Russell's scenes need some dynamic animation to help tell the story, that wouldn't have worked. While yes, after seeing the show as a kid, it always did bother me that the cartoon segments looked nothing like the show. In hindsight, it does make sense. Besides, this was meant to be a general audience family movie as much as it was for the fans of the Fat Albert Show. So while the fans might get it, emphasis on might, I don't know if the general audience would as well. It's a risky move, and to be fair, I'm a big fan of risky moves. I think that you shouldn't coddle the audience, you should follow your artistic dreams, all those cliches. But for something like this, I don't really think Fat Albert lends to a lot of artistic representation or Stanley Kubrick-esque moments. Not saying that Filmation is anything close to Stanley Kubrick, but still. And what was up with that sock puppet? I'm not listening to the audio right now, so I have no idea what that was. I'm sure it's one of those times where I bust out the VeggieTales Abridged Larry voice to impersonate the audience, or something along those lines. I've also been dabbling with Mr. Lunt as well. I should probably just pick a voice and stick with it so it stays consistent. I don't know. I guess I'll let the folks in the comments decide which one I'm gonna go with. And by the way, on Media Mementos I don't take requests, but on Media Mementos Extra, I most certainly do. If you want to see me do a commentary of your favorite Media Mementos video, well, feel free to let me know. Wow, it's the first time I say it and I'm already tripping over my words. Feel free to let me know down in the comments below. See, this is why I like doing the mainline videos. If I mess up, I can go back and edit that out. But if I mess up here, it stays and I look like a goof. Well, folks, thanks for watching the video. And here we are with the outro now. There's not really much else to say here, I guess, except reiterating that this video was so much fun. And by the way, I guess this is something else I should point out. If I sound a little monotone in this video, or not quite right, I was getting over a major cold. By the way, for those of you who watched Tales from the Tapes back when we were doing that, it was the same sickness I had when I watched Sin of Innocence. So yeah, it knocked me out pretty badly, and it was just a couple days later where I decided to finally record this because I was way behind. And, well, as they say, the rest is history. So, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed what you had to hear. There's just a bunch of names going across the screen right now. Oh, hey, it's Billy! I'm scared of Billy. I kid. Billy, you're awesome, and I'm so excited to hear all the crazy adventures you're going to be going on at your new internship, okay? Well, I think it's time to call this a night. Remember, if you have a suggestion for a commentary, let me know down in the comments below. So you be good, okay? Hey, hey, hey!